part of this business district. It comes complete with twin towers which rise 39 stories. Such a business complex wouldn't be out of place in Singapore or Tokyo, but only days after it opened, the centre came under attack by suicide bombers who killed 18 people. You may not look it now, but 5 years ago, this was on the front line of Sri Lanka's bloody civil war. Confidence in the Colombo Stock Exchange was badly shaken by the World Trade Center bombing. And last year, the share index plunged to a life low when the only international airport was attacked. But the market has been climbing steadily since a ceasefire was agreed in February. The chairman of the stock exchange believes Sri Lanka has the potential to be South Asia's Singapore.
What's happening in
Truce with the Tamil
Jaffna?
Tiger rebels leads to a lasting peace.
Okay.
This is something that we have to work towards, and we are a small nation, just 18 to 19 million people. In terms of size, we are very small, but we are perfectly located to be a center, a service center, a center of excellence for the huge catchment area of South Asia. Now, this is something we've got to work towards. Now, without peace, there's no way that we can attract the type of infrastructure and expertise to do this. So I certainly think this is achievable.
But there's a lot to do. 2 decades of war has left much of the country in ruins, especially Tamil areas.
I wouldn't particularly say it's only in the north and east. I mean, the north and east certainly has been devastated with the 20 years of war and requires a considerable amount of sort of support and infrastructure development. But the rest of the country too has suffered because the resources that were available for investment and for infrastructure development have been channeled towards the war.
Driving through Chavakacheri, the second largest town in the Jaffna Peninsula in the north of Sri Lanka, every building shows signs of damage. The formerly bustling market town is now reduced to a virtual ghost town. Chavakacheri and its surrounds were once home to 20,000, but most fled as it changed hands several times during intense fighting between the Sri Lankan army and Tamil Tiger rebels. But the ceasefire and then the reopening in April of the only highway leading to the south has seen refugees start to return home. The road is a crucial lifeline for the rebuilding effort.
What we could see is a lot of destruction after so many years of conflict, sometimes a very heavy one, which of course open a door for major reconstruction and rehabilitation challenges.
The Sri Lanka Development Forum was convened in Colombo in June. Under the gaze of the media, aid donors met government ministers to discuss Sri Lanka's renewal. Officials believe the peace process will generate its own momentum.
If the people in the conflict-affected areas could see the benefits of peace, the government will then have the support of the people living in these areas whose attitude then will change from one of war to one of peace and development.
Last year's Tamil Tiger attack on Sri Lanka's main airport devastated the economy. 3 brand new Airbus airliners belonging to the state flag carrier were destroyed and another 3 were badly damaged. In total, the destruction is put at around $1 billion. But the long-term economic impact is far greater. For the first time, foreign tourists have become directly caught up in the fighting. None was killed, but it was enough to scare off all but the boldest.
If you take the figures, what is the immediately after the bomb that went on at the airport, BIA, the tourist arrivals dropped about 60% when compared to the same period. But today, if you look at is that gap has come down to where about 25%. So I think we see that there is though it's not same as the previous year, we see the arrivals have, more people tend to come to Sri Lanka.
Airport security was reviewed and tightened, helping to restore the confidence of tourists. But the recent tensions between India and Pakistan and the events of September the 11th haven't helped Sri Lanka's hard-pressed tourist industry. 5-star hotels like the Mount Lavinia are bargains by Western standards, but many rooms lie empty. The poolside terrace of this former colonial mansion, which was once the home of the British governor, is half deserted. It's difficult to persuade people to dip their toes back in the water after tourists were forced to run for their lives as they touched down for what was supposed to be the holiday of a lifetime. Though foreigners may be sceptical about the long-term outlook, a real mood of optimism is sweeping Sri Lankans from all communities.
For the first time, the people are experiencing that no bombs are going on in the city, there are no barricades, the fear has gone away, and recently we had a Vesak Buddhist celebration where millions of people were thronged in the streets day and night for the first time. So as far as the people are concerned, there's free movement between the south and the north. People in the north are coming and seeing the abundance of goods in the south. Tourists are flocking, Sri Lankan tourists, to the eastern coast. All the hotels are booked. So there's a huge, overwhelming psychological lift up of the people.
The peace dividend is already apparent in Sri Lanka's capital, Colombo, just a few months after the government and Tamil Tigers jointly declared an indefinite ceasefire. The streets of Colombo are bustling, the shops are busy, in sharp contrast with the war-ravaged territory under the control of the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam. The capital has an air of confidence and burgeoning prosperity. At last, these people believe they have a future without war and are looking forward to reaping the economic rewards of peace and stability. Sri Lankans value education, and literacy rates of around 90% are among the highest in Asia, and English is spoken almost everywhere. In a recent speech, the US ambassador said if all the communities pulled together, Sri Lanka could challenge Singapore as an economic powerhouse. Colombo's docks play a key role in Sri Lanka's economy and are seen as vital to future development. The island is situated just to the north of major shipping lanes, linking the oil-rich Gulf states of the Middle East to Indonesia, Malaysia and beyond. Sri Lanka is also a major exporter, but last year for the first time the economy shrank. Now the government is going all out for growth.
We want to reach 8%. And to reach 8%, you have to go step by step, come out of negative to zero, and then pick it up from there. And we feel that some of the things we've already done. We've taken rather tough decisions on the utilities, on the pricing, on the subsidies, which are painful, but we feel that we cannot get out of this mess we are in without taking those tough decisions, which have, some of them have collected over 20, 30 years. They didn't take the necessary decision at the right time. And we feel we have run out of soft options. So we have to be honest with our people and communicate what we have to do.
The Butterfly Zip Company and small businesses like it are the backbone of Sri Lanka's biggest export industry. For over a decade, the garment industry has been the leading foreign exchange earner, replacing tea, which had been the traditional main export product. Production methods may be basic, but these women make 2,000 zips a day. Like the whole sector, they're fast and flexible. One of the reasons the industry has prospered despite the war. With the truce holding and the economy picking up, it's an auspicious time for a wedding. Tan Intiran and his bride Lakani began married life in style. Young Sri Lankan couples like the Bala Subramaniams have the brightest prospects for a generation as the peace process gathers pace and starts to deliver concrete results. But peace could founder unless all the people of this divided island gain from the economic benefits that everyone now expects. Too much is at stake for the two sides to gamble on the best chance of peace that Sri Lanka has had since the civil war broke out almost 20 years ago. If the new opportunities aren't shared equally, peace could all too easily slip away.